Alright, this right here was the final test for this lens. If it passes, it will have earned a spot in my camera bag, and if it doesn't, then it's gotta go. You might recognize this lens from previous appearances in this YouTube channel. Oh damn it, it's not working. This is my beloved Samyang 35 1.4, or what's left of it. I love this lens, but it stopped working a few weeks ago. The aperture blades wouldn't open. It's too expensive to fix, so I tried to do it myself. My dad and I opened this lens and got all the way to the aperture blades, took them out of there, and somehow managed to put everything back together. I was hoping it would work, but it does not work. I am not giving up on this lens just yet. I'm gonna keep trying to make it work again, but as of right now, it's useless. That's why when Meike reached out to me offering this lens right here for me to try it out, I couldn't say no. I thought it could be potentially a replacement for my beloved Samyang lens. And here it is. This is the Meike 50mm 1.2, and I've been using it for a couple weeks now. I brought it with me on my trip to La Mancha, and I've been shooting it here in town in very different conditions. So the question is, has this lens earned the spot that the Samyang left vacant in my camera bag? Let's find out. Let's begin with the good things. I knew there were at least two reasons why this lens could be a good fit for me and my photography. Both of them from a creative point of view. They have nothing to do with image quality, because this is not your lens if what you are after is sharpness. The first one is the focal length. You see, I do most of my photography with a couple of zoom lenses, and I love the versatility and the flexibility and the freedom that they give me. But I believe that switching it up every once in a while and having a constraint like it is a fixed focal length can be very good for creativity. And the second one is, of course, the elephant in the room, that very fast aperture of 1.2. Now, I'm not a big fan of blurring the background into oblivion. I rather use that power in more subtle ways. I have a whole video explaining why I like to shoot wide open, but things get a little bit more extreme when we are talking about apertures like 1.2. Let's take this scene back here as an example. This could be a lovely image no matter what camera or lens I used here. But by shooting it at 1.2, I can make it better, even if only slightly. In this image, the road leads the viewer to the subject, that is the tree. The extreme shallow depth of field makes the road look out of focus on the bottom left of the frame, and it gets more and more in focus as it approaches, as it gets closer to the tree. It is my opinion that that makes it a better leading line. Using these kind of apertures, we can also add a kind of 3D feeling to the images, as if we were shooting medium format, as I hope you can see on these photographs. Things I didn't like about this lens. It's all metal, so it's a heavy lens and it's not weather sealed. The aperture ring is declicked, it doesn't have hard stops, and that's supposed to be very good for video work, but I don't like it for photography as much. I found myself moving it accidentally in between shots, and I don't even realize that I do that. It is a manual focusing lens. I personally don't mind too much. I shot a film camera for a long time, so I'm used to it, but at this point of my career, I'd rather use an autofocus lens. Slowing the image creating process down a little bit can be very good, especially if we are taking more time to find a better composition. But the extra time we spend adjusting settings on the camera, or in this case manually adjusting this lens, is not necessarily going to make our images any better. In fact, it can make them worse by taking us from the present moment, from the subject that we are trying to photograph, as we are more concerned about the camera and the lens than the image itself. happy to report that this lens passed the test that I was performing at the beginning of the video, and that was about how it handled lights, the street lights, any bright source of light. Sadly, many vintage or cheap lenses like this one don't always handle those lights very well, but I'm very happy with the way this lens behaved at night and how it rendered those spots of very bright light. Given all of these, the good and the bad, I think this lens has earned a spot in my camera bag for now. It's still too early to tell. 2 weeks is just not enough to know if my view about this lens is going to change in the long term, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I hope this video was helpful, if not about this specific lens, at least about how I look at a new piece of equipment and the things that I'm looking for when I'm adding something to my camera bag. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.